Joining us on the Kelly Alexander Show is an amazing talent who you remember from Madonna's Blond Ambition tour and groundbreaking documentary Truth or Dare. Jose Gutierrez is a dancer and choreographer who has influenced thousands of dancers around the world with his style and grace, and no one can forget his amazing moves in Madonna's Vogue video. Jose, welcome to the Kelly Alexander Show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
So, Jose, can I start off by asking you how you actually got into the world of dance? Like, did you know from when you were little that dancing was where it was at for you?
Yeah, from when I was little, like you say, yeah, I knew very early on. I was very fortunate as well because I had auditioned for a program that was paid for by the Board of Education, where they would take kids that had some kind of talent or they saw something in them and they would train them professionally, like in ballet and modern, for free. And I trained with them. I trained with them for so many years as a child, well into my high school years. So I was very fortunate to be professionally trained so early on, and then later on I went into School of the Arts, and stuff like that. So I've been very fortunate to be able to learn dance at such an early age as a kid,
Now, when you were in ballet and all that sort of stuff that goes with it, did you ever think that you would head into the world of pop music?
Well, no, honestly speaking, I never had a clue. Like when I was training, my whole plan was to go into a professional dance company, Alvin Ailey City Ballet or whatever. I never set out to really I never saw myself really going on a world tour with a pop artist or pop icon, anything of that nature. It was strictly training and that's it. And the goal, the pot of gold was to enter a professional, well-respected professional dance company, but it didn't quite turn out that way.
It did not, but it worked out super well.
It didn't turn out that bad, right?
That's right, exactly. Now, can you tell us about how you came to the attention of Madonna, and do you feel like your ballet training helped, her really sort of fall in love with your style?
Yeah, I definitely think my style, because I was able to incorporate my technique, which I got from ballet training and the other forms of dance I trained in as I was growing up. So I think that brought a certain element to what she was looking for as far as the tour and the video work that I later on did with her. So yeah, it definitely helped me. It made what I was bringing slightly different, something that I don't think she's ever seen before, at that time,
And how did you come to her attention? Was it sort of word of mouth?
It was funny because I knew her hairstylist at the time, and we hung out at this club, a couple of years back, and I knew her hairstylist, and she would always say to me, "Look, Madonna's coming to New York. She's looking for some new talent. She's about to embark on this tour." And when you hear stuff like that, it's always like, yeah, whatever, And sure enough, one night we were in the club. I was there hanging out with some friends. And Debbie Mazar, who's now an actress, by the way, very, very popular actress, who was a hairstylist at the time, introduced me to her at the club. And I was like, wow, I couldn't believe it. Here she was in front of me. And I nearly froze, I remember. And I remember her saying to me, "I heard about this thing you do, this Vogue dance you do. Can you show me? I want to see." And I'm looking at her right here on command in this club. And she's like, "Yeah, I want to see, So that's how that happened. And it was so funny because I wasn't dressed for it, to really be able to show the art of it. And she made one of her bodyguards give me his pants while he waited in the VIP bathroom. And I went out there in his pants to show her, the movement. It was really crazy because this guy was so bigger than me. The pants barely fit me. They were huge, but I was able to do it. And she picked me. And
wow.
I mean, again, nothing that I prepared for. I remember the whole club, once they got wind that she was there, turned into a big casting audition type thing.
Mm-hmm.
It turned into a big audition. And then she picked me and Louis, who's the other guy who went from New York, and then the rest were picked from LA. But it was a total of 7,000 dancers or something like that and only 7 were chosen. So
can you set the record straight with regards to the Vogue situation? Because, Madonna's been raked over the coals for so many years that she stole the dance, and then where did the dance come from and all that. So do you know how it was brought to her attention? Was it through finding out about you and Lewis, or was it, other people doing it and then she knew you guys were doing it too?
no, I think that it was brought to her attention, and I mean, I think that, like I said, everyone got an opportunity to show what they were able to do. And as far as the voguing at the time, Lewis and I really were able to incorporate our dance training into it. So, I mean, basically we did it the best. I don't want to say it like that, but yeah, like we were able to take it further as far as creating the Vogue, because back then it was nothing what it was then, and what it is now is something totally different from where it started.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and I like to think that Madonna, I know people think that she just took from the community. I mean, we have to also see that she took 2 of the community's own.
Mm-hmm.
like there's nothing that she took. She took 2 of their own that knew that knew of this dance, and that took it and created into what made it popular, and she gave it an international platform, and that was her way of giving back to the community by taking 2 of their own and having them introduce this dance craze with her in tow, leading and us,
Mm-hmm.
behind her, introducing this dance craze to the world. So with that said, I have to disagree with that. I mean, if anything, she did it. It would have taken, if not her to take it around the world, then who, at that time, with so much that was going on, and she was right in the forefront of it,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why it's at where it's at today, because of her, I like to think. She started it and gave it the world, gave it the platform it needed for it to be shown all around the world.
Joining us on the Kelly Alexander Show is dancer and choreographer Jose Gutierrez. Make sure to follow him on Instagram at Father Jose Extravaganza. Can you talk to us, Jose, about so you got picked? She saw you in the club and you auditioned kind of impromptu. What was the next step? Like, did she whisk you guys right away to Los Angeles, or how did that all play out?
No. Well, after meeting her that night in the club, we were invited to come to an audition that was being held where, the original audition was to take place, which was, I think, the following weekend. And so we went to that, and there was about 4,000 dancers that had auditioned here. And out of those, she chose 3 of us, Salim being one of them, who's the other guy, and then the rest were picked from LA. So they had auditions here. After meeting her in the club, she invited me to the audition to see what I looked like with the rest of the guys. And from that audition, she picked another person, and then the other 4 were chosen in LA. So after that audition in New York, we were flown into LA to see the lineup and see what the lineup looked like with those other dancers that were to be chosen. Yeah, so that's how that happened.
What was it like when all of you guys came together?
It was really, really crazy, because us being from New York, and again, it was like a job that I didn't know what to expect, more or less. So here I was, in LA, where it all goes down, a lot of video work, a lot of pop artists, and a lot of dancers that work with pop artists. So it was great to see that, to see that for the first time, and then to embark on this opportunity with these guys who were just as young and also so eager to learn and travel with this woman. I think it was great. It was a great collaboration. She handpicked all of us, I like to think. She knew that it was great chemistry from the moment we all got chosen. That initial rehearsal,
Mm-hmm.
we knew that it was a great fit.
Can you explain to us a little of what rehearsal was like with Madonna? Because again, her reputation kind of precedes itself, and I think a lot of people have heard that she's a taskmaster. Also very nice, I'm certain. But what was it like being in rehearsal? Because we all know that she is such a workhorse and a perfectionist and gives it her all. So what was it like for you young cats, trying to keep up with her?
I mean, for us, again, we were so eager to be there, and again, we definitely understood where she was coming from. I mean, it was her show and she wanted it a certain way. So when you say work hard, I think any artist or any performer for that matter who wants to put something great out, you know, you're going to work hard at it. And I think in that sense, I think we all wanted the same thing. So I think I don't see it as it was grueling or anything like that. We put on a good show, and that took work, and she knew that, and we grew very accustomed very early on. I mean, I was always used to training every day anyways, you know, like I was training 6 days a week, Saturdays included, you know, and like with only Sundays off. So I was used to the work ethic that she brought, and I think everyone else that wasn't adapted very quick on, because it made you want to put on a great show, and that we did, you know.
And when you were out on tour, what was your favorite piece of choreography? Was it Vogue or was it something else? Because I know Kevin, I think he mentioned that Express Yourself was his favorite piece.
I love the stuff that we did, Vogue, yeah, well, of course, what I choreographed, and then I love some of the Keep It Together. I love Keep It Together. The like a prayer stuff also, because it was very technical. There was a ballet section that I loved, you know, that was amazing, you know, and like a prayer. So yeah, I had my favorites were a few favorites, I want to say. Again, it was such a great show, but yeah, I like to say my favorite is Like a Virgin too, of course. Yeah.
And when
those I it was a great show, and I contributed a lot to it, as well as some of the other dancers. It was like theater, you know, so it was very different from what's being done today, you know.
And now I know that you and Slam actually, I think it was last year, were able to sort of come together to do a little tribute to the 25th anniversary of Vogue. What was it like to come back to the choreography, especially because, like you said, you helped put it together?
Oh my God, it was like, at the minute that I saw him, and it was like second skin, honestly. It was like we never left again. It's that chemistry, and he remembered a lot of it, and I remembered the rest of it, and it was just like within seconds. It was so last minute. It was great, you know, to feel that again, and now with everything else that has followed after that, it's been crazy to be able to reunite with these guys and plan for a future, you know?
Can you talk to us a little bit about coming together for the Strike a Pose documentary? Because now word is really, you know, starting to get out. I know you guys have been at Tribeca and Hot Docs in Toronto, and I know the film is going to be released at the end of May. But what was it like when you guys walked into the room? And I think some of you hadn't seen each other in like 25 years.
Oh my God, like seeing those guys after such a period of time, I was so emotional. All I did was cry a lot. I was so overwhelmed with emotions, you know. So much time had passed, you know, and we were all so young when we embarked on this journey. And then when it came to an end, it was like, you know, stripping a child away from its candy, you know, like you're like, where did it go? What happened, you know? And I think that now, given this opportunity to seeing them again and doing this project that we just did and what they show in the film, that was like, I was just in tears, and you'll see it in the film. I mean, I know that it was very touching seeing them, and it was like overwhelmed. I couldn't talk, and I couldn't say much. Yeah, just like so much I wanted to say and just couldn't. And now, given the movie and everything that's to follow, I'm glad that I have this second opportunity at it and seeing them again and working with them again, of course.
Now, I know, you know, obviously very, very sad is the fact that Gabriel was not able to be a part of the reunion because he's no longer with us. Was there a huge hole in all of your hearts, even though you guys, the rest of you were together? Like, how was it to handle all of that without him being there?
It was, oh my God, it was just like, again, emotional. It was so weird, because at moments, there was a space while we were shooting, and it was just like the space in between the round table where we sit towards the end and we all see each other for the first time. And while shooting, there was always a space that wouldn't close up. The circle wasn't fully complete with the space, and if for some reason it felt like he was there. I mean, as it may sound really like crazy or stupid, but he was definitely there in spirit. I mean, there was a space there for him, and we all noticed it at different times. It was like, well, who is this? Why is this space here?
Mm-hmm.
And that was Gabriel, we like to think, and we feel in our hearts that it was. And he's with us. Not a day goes by that I didn't think about him before the project, and now not a day goes by again that he's definitely in our thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Always has been. He's a part of my life and always will be, and I miss him every day,
Mm-hmm.
every day, every day. Yeah.
When you were out on tour, back in 1990 with the Blond Ambition tour, who were you actually closest to, on the tour? I know you guys were a big family, but I'm sure you guys sort of gravitated maybe a little bit towards this one or that one. And do you find that that's still the same way 25 years later?
Good question. I mean, yeah, I think that all of us gravitate to each other for like different reasons,
Mm-hmm.
and we can relate to one more than the other for different reasons as well. But I think we've all love each other and don't want to be without each other. It's really crazy. I love those guys so much. You can't imagine one without the other. Honestly, it's like we're like unbreakable. We were the first to put a face to dancers, more or less, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And dancers are always in the background of things. And I think that us doing being part of a show, like doing a show like the Blond Ambition tour and the documentary that was filmed from it, gave faces to these dancers that made a mark in pop culture alongside this woman.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that united us, and now we're like inseparable totally. I speak to them every day, and I just don't want to know what it's like again to like let so many years go by without being in contact with them, with all of them.
Wow, that's awesome. That's so great. And following
Yeah.
up on that question, I wanted to ask you something, because I've had the opportunity to interview a lot of dancers who have danced with Janet Jackson. And when they came sort of off tour, some of them mentioned that it was difficult to sort of reintegrate into life because, they've been traveling around in this bubble with Janet, being treated like rock stars themselves. Was it the same for you, especially because you guys actually had that documentary? So, because I know Janet obviously puts out her dancers quite a bit too, where the fans know the dancers and there's signs for the dancers. You guys were actually in a movie where, again, much focus was on you. So what was it like coming home? How did the transition work out for you?
It was rude. it was rude. That's what it was. It was just so rude. No, but I mean, again, like, seriously, it was like a rude awakening, because it's like you're a kid, and like I was saying earlier, you adapt. It's not like when you're older, you always know in the back of your mind, because you've been through experiences in life that have taught you, look, this might happen, so always look on the other side if this doesn't go well or this stops happening, But as a child, you don't set yourself up for those moments, those what-if moments if things come to an end, or what if they don't work out. You as a kid think that things are supposed to go on forever, especially when they're good and when they're so pleasing, and you get so much from it and you're so happy. So yeah, I mean, considering we were young, it took a minute to adapt, and then of course you like snap out of it because you have to.
Right.
But it definitely was like a wake-up call, a rude wake-up call, so to speak.
Was it hard for you, Jose, to get work after that? Because, again, you guys had so much notoriety. I'm wondering if some other artists were afraid to have you as part of their dance team because maybe you overshadowed them.
It's funny because it was like a double-edged sword. Sometimes we would walk in and we would get these jobs. I would get jobs just on the spot, not even having to audition or send in anything, just because of who I worked with, and my face was so familiar with that, like they knew us. So yeah, but then also on the flip side, from getting jobs, where you didn't have to do anything, there also was on the flip side where you would walk in and they would like not hire you because they either felt that you were overqualified, or you maybe expected too much, or that you were even going to be I dare I say, a diva because of who you worked with, and you know, and what stories that they've heard about, you know, the artists or even dancers themselves that worked with the artist. So it was weird because sometimes it was a great thing and you would get jobs on site, but then on the flip side, it was like, oh no, I don't want to work with these guys. These guys, not only are they overqualified, but also, you know, they worked with Madonna,
Right.
and you know, we don't know what to expect. And you saw the movie, right? You saw how they were, so you know, they can overshadow the star. And yeah, a lot of times even at jobs we were told, I've been told to tone it down a bit, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, can you talk to
Yeah.
us a little bit about, because, you know, back in the early 90s, I think a lot of people were it was almost like there was sports teams going on. Like there was the Madonna team, there was like the Paula Abdul team and the Janet team. Did you guys like feel competitive towards like the other artists and the other team? Like, especially let's say when you
Yes.
guys would, yes? Okay.
Yes. Oh yeah. Oh
Okay.
yeah. Absolutely. I mean, it was crazy because we were traveling, if not at the same time, you know, artist tours with other dancers, and we would run into them at like sometimes at award ceremonies, and yeah, there was a competitive nature between the different, not only the artists, but you know, like even with the dancers as well. You know, we wanted to be on the hottest tour that year, and they felt they were on the hottest tour that year, and you know, we would run into them at award ceremonies, and it was like, you know, like mean mugging, you know, but of course, everything in competitive, everything in good fun, I want to say. You know, they're brilliant dancers, all of them, but it's just like things that you do. You feel like you're on this team, and you want to be the best. You're in that team, and things like that. So yeah, it was very competitive from all the camps, all the different camps that were partaking in touring with these pop icons and artists and stuff.
Were you able to be again, you know, when you were with Madonna? Because I know that, you know, there's a scene in Truth or Dare where there's a comment made about Janet's Rhythm Nation, and Madonna doesn't seem too happy about it. Were you able to sort of, like, I don't even know, are you a Janet fan? Like, were you able to maybe secretly like Janet, or was it like all about Madonna and that was it?
I think that it was all about her, and that was, you know, that was the choice we all had. I mean, of course, we all viewed other artists and stuff, us, you know, seeing what was out there and see who was doing what, because we always wanted to be, you know, different from the rest. I think we did a very good job at that. She did a very good job at that. So we wanted to remain that. So yeah, there was almost like it was a known rule not to do what any other dancer / or artist was doing, you know. You want to aim to be different.
Okay.
So yeah, we weren't really allowed to like really credit anyone else but ourselves and try to outdo.
Okay, so no Rhythm Nation dances backstage.
No Janet music. I mean, unless it was all Madonna, and that was by choice. I think that. Yeah,
That's
I think
cool.
we were all wrapped up in being in that moment, and that was us, you know.
Now, I have to ask you about the MTV Video Music Award performance that you guys did with Vogue, because it was fantastic. Like, there's no other word. It's phenomenal. You guys were amazing. And I was just rewatching it recently, knowing I was going to be able to do an interview with you. And you really stand out to me in that piece, especially because you're so great at the voguing moves. Like, how special is that performance for you?
Oh, it was so special. I mean, it was like, it was so great to see the reaction of the audience when we first when the curtain went up and we first were revealed on stage, because we already had toured, and Vogue, we were like out vogued already. No one wanted to Vogue, so we were like, what we were gonna do? Let's try and do something different. But you know, everyone wanted to, you know, to hear Vogue and wanted her to perform Vogue. I think the people at MTV as well. So, but we were originally trying to do something different, like a different song even. But at request, we decided to do it. And we were like, well, if we're going to do it, we're going to have to change it. And at first we were undecisive. We didn't know if we wanted to do like more of a Clockwork Orange type theme, or, you know, we maybe even like cabaret type, Chicago type with like black bowler hats, and kind of like a takeoff of what we did on the tour with Keep It Together. But we started watching movies, and we had Dangerous Liaisons. And that's how that was born. We were like, what if we did it like Dangerous Liaisons? Kind of like that. And it was perfect. Because if we were going to do it after doing it so much, we wanted to make sure that we were going to bring a different type of element to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was genius. It worked,
It was amazing.
It definitely worked. Yeah.
You guys were gorgeous and amazing. Now, I wanted to ask you this with regards to the film, Truth or Dare. So many people have talked about the fact that you 7 guys were able to sort of help the gay community. A lot of guys who were gay maybe come out, maybe feel comfortable with themselves. What does it feel like 25 years later or 26 years later, knowing that you did that? I'm sure you still get tons of fan mail, and obviously with Strike a Pose now, more fans are probably able to speak to you about it.
Yeah, it's been crazy because, like, again, when you're that young and you embark on that journey where you're traveling and performing all around the world, you never you never really set out to touch people in the way that we did. Like, I never set out to move so many people and make people feel comfortable and make them come out and be proud of who they are. That wasn't what we set out to do. So now that I'm aware that I've inspired so many, and all these years have gone by, and people still reach out, and I still get emails and messages from people saying how, because of you, I am who I am. I feel sometimes like, wow, I was so unaware. And I think that now that I am, I wanna be able to continue to inspire and continue to move people now that I'm conscious of it. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a blessing, again, like, to be able to do that for so many people unawareingly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I appreciate it so much, and it inspires me to do it for another 25 million years,
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's inspirational, totally. It gives me strength. It gives me inspiration. It gives me so much, and I'm so grateful.
Mm-hmm.
So grateful, yeah.
Now, I wanted to ask you as well with regards to Madonna, because again, as the public, like, you guys, got to know her so well by spending so much time with her, traveling and touring the world. What one thing would, like, her fans be surprised to know about her? Because we always sort of see that she's just fierce, but, like, I'm sure there's obviously so many different layers to her.
Well, that she's very emotional person, very in touch with her emotions,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she cries, I'm sure people are like, oh, she's like, yeah, very emotional being, very in touch with her emotions, very sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
Sensitive, yeah. She's very sensitive, I want to say, that people may not think or not know that she is, but she is.
Now, in the years since you worked with her, were you able, and did you want to sort of follow her career, like, or was it bittersweet? Because I know, like, it might be hard to maybe see what she's been doing because maybe you missed being with her. Like, how did you sort of treat Madonna in the years following with regards to how you were aware or not aware of her successes?
No, it's funny because I was always been very aware of her successes. I mean, how could you not be? It's everything she does is like right in front of you, And I think for the sake of the creativity aspect of it all, I always was looking to see what she was up to and what she was doing. And yeah, I looked at her dancers and compared movement and stuff, but always with again that it's creativity, and I respect it, even if I'm not a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
She puts out great stuff. Of course, a lot of stuff I feel that I could have done better,
Of course, that's awesome.
or I would have contributed something different. And I think that, her knowing me, she also must agree if she was to ever hear this,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And speaking of that,
yeah.
when was the last time you actually spoke to Madonna?
Wow, it's been, I want to say, years. I mean, we've been around the same, like at events and stuff, but it's been like somewhat unreachable. It's crazy because 25 years have passed, and it's like we when we have been around each other, we really haven't spoken. And I like to think that we both are aware that we've been in the same areas or whatever. And it's just been very high wave, but nothing like it was then, you know?
Mm-hmm. And what would you say to her today?
Unfortunately, but it's true.
What would you say to her today, Jose, especially after coming back together with the boys? Like, I'm sure a bunch of emotions have come up with regards to her.
What would I say? Oh my God, I don't know. Like, that's weird. What would I say to her?
Like if she had walked in the room like after the guys, like what would you have said or wanted
like
to
if
say?
we were all in a room and she walked in?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think I would say, "What's the deal?" Something like that. What's up? It's been a long time. I don't know. I never really thought of that, and I think that we've been asked that before.
Mm-hmm.
I think the other guys have answered that, but like, I don't know. I think that I would wait to see what she says.
Mm-hmm.
She walked into the room. I want to see what she has to say.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure she'll have something to say even before anyone else gets a word in,
And I'd heard that, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I've heard that she is aware of, the documentary Strike a Pose. Does it matter to you what she thinks about it? Like, do you wonder what she thinks about the fact that you guys have been able to come together and produce this new work?
I mean, I know that I'm sure she's aware of it. And I think that if she were to see it, if she hasn't already, I think she would be proud of it. And a lot of things that she wasn't aware of, as well as I wasn't, as a lot of us weren't. So I think she would definitely, she would definitely show interest in the stories of what has happened to so many of us. And the passing of Gabriel, I'm sure that there's looks into stuff in the film that she wasn't aware of.
Mm-hmm.
So I think with that said, I think she would enjoy it. I think it's not this. It's our story of going on this journey with her, and it's our story to tell. And
mm-hmm.
she would be surprised at all the things that she was unaware of that took place at that time, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you this. When I interviewed a bunch of Janet dancers with regards to the 25th anniversary of Rhythm Nation, like Tina Landon and Anthony Thomas, who choreographed a lot of it, Terry Bixler. I asked each of them when it was the 25th anniversary. I said, would you guys like to suit up again and with your team and get on stage and do Rhythm Nation? And they all said that they would. Do you feel the same way about suiting up with your guys? If you could just even just one time, would you love to get up there and vogue with the 6 guys?
Absolutely, yeah. I think we're doing a bit of that now, actually. Yeah, I think we're like brushing up on our skills. I think that we're definitely have had our Vogue moments since we've reunited. Definitely.
Awesome. That's awesome. And before I let you go, Jose, can you let us know what you're up to next, and if you have a message for your fans? Because, like I said off before we started recording the interview, I'm just so happy to speak to you because I remember being a young teenager and watching Truth or Dare and just falling in love with you guys and thinking you were the coolest cats on the planet. So it's a true honor for me to speak to you. What do you say to your fans who are listening to this?
I say to them, thank you so much for all the years for all your undeniable support. I'm so in love with all of you. Thank you so much. And just to keep reaching for the stars, everything is possible, and believe in yourself. And everyone is someone, regardless of color, regardless of gender. We all love. We're all entitled to feel love. And to continue to inspire in whatever it is, and to love, that's about it, and yeah.
And if people follow you on your social media, they'll find out what you're up to next.
Yes, definitely. I just finished wrapping a project with Baz Luhrmann that's coming out, a Netflix series. I'm still teaching. I just returned from Sweden where I had a workshop, and I'm going to be promoting Strike a Pose for the rest of the summer, beginning of the fall as well.
Mm-hmm.
And and that's about it. It's all posted up there. on my Facebook, Jose Gutierez, Jose Extravaganza on Instagram.
Okay, perfect. Jose, it's been just an honor, and I'm sure you hear this constantly, but on behalf of the fans, just thank you so much for everything you did, because you definitely did, I think, change a lot of our lives. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
That is Jose Gutierrez. Again, don't forget to follow him on Facebook and on his Instagram at Father Jose Extravaganza. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch the video. We've got a lot more great content coming your way, so make sure to subscribe right here and check out all that's coming up on The Kelly Alexander Show.